The ultimatum. The great chamber of the Galactic Council gleamed under the light of 3 artificial suns. Representatives from over 500 spacefaring civilizations sat in concentric rings, their varied forms, some gaseous, some crystalline, some with too many limbs or too few, all focused on the central podium. Today's emergency session had drawn even the most reclusive species. Elder Civics of the Cronians floated to the center. His translucent body pulsed with bioluminescent patterns that conveyed as much meaning as his words. For 8,000 years, the Cronians had served as record-keepers of galactic history. When Civics spoke, even the most powerful delegations listened, honored representatives. Civics began, his voice resonating through the universal translators. The Arconian Empire has announced its intention to incorporate Sol 3, known to its inhabitants as Earth, into their domain. As is protocol, we have convened to register official responses. A ripple of concerned murmurs spread through the chamber. The Arconians had conquered 17 systems in just the past century, their technological superiority making resistance futile for most species. From the upper tiers, Supreme Commander Dravik of the Arconians rose. His exoskeleton gleamed with ceremonial markings, each representing a successful conquest. "This is merely a formality," Dravik announced, mandibles clicking in what passed for amusement in his species. "The humans are primitive. They have barely left their own gravity well. Our analysis indicates they will surrender within 1 planetary rotation, once they witness our might." Elder Civics's bioluminescence darkened. "Commander Dravik, the Council archives contain concerning precedents regarding Earth." From the mid-level tiers, Ambassador Leary of the Mentari stood, her 4 arms raised in the formal gesture of objection. The Mentari were an ancient telepathic species who had explored much of the galaxy through non-physical means long before achieving space travel. "Our observation vessels have studied Earth from beyond their detection capabilities," Leary said. "Their history suggests caution. Humans advance most rapidly when threatened. They developed nuclear weapons mere decades after discovering powered flight. Their fiction is filled with scenarios of defeating alien invaders." Commander Dravik's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of dismissal. "Primitive fantasies. Their most advanced weapons are chemical propellants and crude-directed energy. They have no unified planetary government. They will kneel." From the lower tiers, a beam composed of crystalline structures rose slowly. Ambassador Carrix of the Tellurians rarely spoke at council meetings, making the chamber fall silent. 300 cycles ago," Carrix said, each word forming with deliberate precision, "the Mrazix Collective sent a conquest fleet to Earth. None returned. Their civilization collapsed shortly after." Dravik's exoskeleton stiffened. "Ancient history, poorly documented. 150 cycles ago." Carrix continued, undeterred. "The Vorax Imperium declared Earth would become their new harvesting ground. They sent their elite forces. The crystalline being paused. We found their ships drifting near the 4th planet. Empty. The Vorax never mentioned Earth again." Uneasy silence fell across the chamber. Elder Civics's voice cut through the tension. "The Council records are incomplete, but the pattern is clear. Species who underestimate humans tend to disappear." Commander Dravik slammed a clawed appendage against the rail. "The Arconian Empire does not seek permission. We inform the Council as a courtesy. Our advance fleet has already departed." Elder Civics's bioluminescence pulsed with resignation. "Then we must record our formal warning. The humans appear divided until united by external threat. They appear primitive until innovation becomes necessity. The Arconians believe they are hunting easy prey, but they may be poking a nest of creatures they do not understand." As Dravik turned to leave, his final words echoed through the chamber. "We will send you humans as specimens when this is done. You can study them then." After the Arconian delegation departed, many representatives gathered around Elder Civics, discussing in worried tones what might happen not just to Earth, but to the balance of power if either side won decisively. "Should we not warn the humans?" asked Ambassador Leary. Elder Xivix's patterns shifted to deep blue. Some of us already have. General Maya Chen stood before the wall of screens in Earth Defense Command, her reflection ghosting across real-time satellite feeds. At 53, she had spent 30 years preparing for a day she hoped would never come. "Confirm that transmission origin again," she ordered. Colonel Davis nodded from his station. "Multiple sources, General." The signals appeared simultaneously at 16 deep space monitoring stations. They all contained the same message and the same set of coordinates. The message had been simple. "They are coming. Beware the Arconians. You are not as alone as you think." That was 3 days ago. Now strange readings were appearing at the edge of the solar system. "Movement near Neptune's orbit," reported Captain Hassan from the sensor station. "Multiple objects just appeared. They're moving toward Earth at incredible speed." "How many?" Chen asked, her voice steady despite the adrenaline flooding her system. 23 large vessels, hundreds of smaller ones." General Chen activated the secure communication channel that connected directly to the United Earth Defense Council, a body whose existence had been classified until 48 hours ago, when governments worldwide revealed the truth to their citizens. "Madam Secretary," Chen said when the connection established, "First Contact Protocol Alpha is now in effect. Multiple vessels of extraterrestrial origin have entered the solar system and are on approach. Based on their velocity, we have approximately 64 hours before they reach Earth orbit." Secretary General Isob's face remained composed on the screen. "Are they responding to communications?" "We've been broadcasting on all frequencies using the first contact package. No response yet." "Then we proceed as planned," Isob said. "All nations have agreed. Operation Hidden Shield is now active. May whatever gods exist help us all." Throughout the world, in bunkers built during the Cold War but secretly expanded and modernized, in mountain facilities carved into solid rock, and in underwater bases, previously concealed preparations began to unfold. Weapons systems that officially didn't exist powered up. Soldiers trained in secret programs moved to their positions. For decades, fragments of alien technology had been recovered from crashed vessels, the remains of previous attempted invasions that never made it into the history books. Reverse-engineered innovations had been quietly integrated into defense systems, while publicly denied. Now humanity would see if their preparations were enough. Aboard the Arconian command vessel Inevitable Victory, Supreme Commander Dravik watched Earth grow larger on the view screen. To his eyes, adapted for the red light of his homeworld, the blue planet seemed sickly and oversaturated. "Such a waste of water," he remarked to his officers. "To think the primitives let most of it sit unprocessed in giant basins." His second-in-command, Subcommander Zerl, studied the sensor readings. "Sir, they're attempting to communicate with us." "Ignore them," Dravik said dismissively. "Their primitive transmissions are of no consequence. Once they see our ships in their skies, they'll understand their new place in the universe." "There's something else," Zerl said, mandibles twitching with uncertainty. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from what appear to be their satellites." "Probably their crude communications network," Dravik said, waving a clawed appendage. "Nothing that can harm our ships." The Arconian fleet moved past Mars, maintaining their formation. Earth grew from a blue marble to a detailed world of oceans, clouds, and landmasses. Dravik could almost taste victory. "Prepare the first wave," he ordered. "Target their largest population centers and government facilities. A quick demonstration of our power should minimize resistance." The leading vessels of the Arconian fleet entered high Earth orbit, weapons systems powering up for the initial bombardment that would announce their arrival and demand for surrender. That's when the grid fired. Around Earth, thousands of what appeared to be ordinary satellites suddenly transformed. Solar panels retracted to reveal weapon ports. Communications dishes rotated to expose energy projectors. Even apparent space debris shifted, shedding disguised outer shells. Beams of concentrated energy sliced through 3 Arconian cruisers before they could raise their shields. The ships exploded silently in space, debris expanding outward in glittering clouds. On the inevitable victory, Dravik was thrown from his command chair as the ship shuddered violently. "What happened?" he roared. Zerl worked frantically at the tactical station. 3 cruisers destroyed, Commander. The Earth satellites. They're armed. They were disguised. Dravik couldn't process what he was hearing. Impossible. Our intelligence reported no orbital defenses. The satellites were camouflage. Zerl explained, voice tight with stress. They appeared to be communications equipment but contained powerful weapon systems. Dravik's rage built as he watched more of his ships take damage. Raise all shields. Launch fighters. Target those weapons platforms. The space around Earth erupted in battle. Arconian fighters streaked toward the defense grid, while Earth's hidden weapons continued firing. In Earth Defense Command, General Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "Grid performance at 87%, reported Colonel Davis. "We've destroyed 7 major ships and approximately 40 smaller craft." Chen nodded. The first test of humanity's secret defenses was exceeding expectations, but she harbored no illusions. "They'll adapt quickly," she said. "This is just the beginning. Prepare ground forces. The real battle is coming." Aboard the inevitable victory, Commander Dravik watched in disbelief as more of his fleet took damage. This was not the easy victory he had promised his leaders. These humans were not the primitives his intelligence had described. "Pull back to lunar orbit," he ordered through clenched mandibles. "We need to reassess." As the Arconian ships retreated, celebrations erupted in command centers around Earth. But General Chen did not join in. She knew what was coming next. "They'll be back," she told her officers, "and next time, they'll come to the ground." Outside her window, the blue sky had darkened to reveal stars. Far above, the flashes of battle lit up the night like new constellations being born and dying in an instant. The war for Earth had only just begun. Part 2. Defiance. Captain Elena Rodriguez crouched behind the ruins of what had once been a suburban home in the outskirts of Santiago. 2 weeks had passed since the Arconians began their ground invasion. Their initial orbital bombardment had been less effective than they planned, thanks to Earth's hidden shield technology, but the aliens had adapted quickly. Through her enhanced tactical visor, Elena could see the heat signatures of 15 Arconian foot soldiers moving through the rubble-strewn street. The aliens stood nearly 7 feet tall, their exoskeletons providing natural armor that conventional bullets barely scratched. "Team Condor in position," she whispered into her comm. 15 tangos moving east along Avenida Principal. "Copy that, Condor," came the response from Major Wyatt Command. "You're cleared for Operation Mosquito." Elena signaled to her team. Sergeant Diaz activated a small device that emitted a high-frequency pulse designed to interfere with Arconian communication systems. Simultaneously, Sniper Corporal Navarro fired a specialized round at the lead alien. The projectile didn't attempt to penetrate the Arconian's exoskeleton. Instead, it attached to the plating and began dissolving, releasing nanobots programmed to find the tiny gaps between plates, the Arconian equivalent of joints. The alien staggered, then began thrashing as the nanobots entered its biological systems. Within moments, the creature collapsed, paralyzed but alive. Chaos erupted among the Arconian squad as their communications failed and their leader fell. Earth forces had discovered early that the Arconians relied heavily on Central Command. When isolated individual soldiers struggled to adapt to changing situations, Elena's team struck from multiple directions, using similar nanite rounds on the remaining aliens. In less than 2 minutes, the entire squad was neutralized without a single human casualty. Condor to command. Package secured. 15 specimens ready for transport. This scene repeated across the globe. Human forces had abandoned conventional warfare for guerrilla tactics that exploited Arconian weaknesses. Rather than fighting the technologically superior aliens head-on, Earth's military used the planet itself as a weapon. In his temporary headquarters beneath the Andes Mountains, Supreme Commander Dravik reviewed the latest reports with growing fury. 3 weeks, he snarled at his officers. 3 weeks, and we control less than 8% of the planet's surface. Sub-Commander Zerl stood at attention, her exoskeleton showing battle damage that hadn't yet been repaired, a sign of how stretched Arconian resources had become. "Sir, we continue to face unexpected challenges," she reported carefully. "The humans' technology is far more advanced than our intelligence suggested. Their adaptive tactics confound our troops, who are trained for conventional warfare." "And why?" Dravik hissed. "Are our warriors collapsing from exhaustion after mere days on this miserable planet? Earth's gravity is 1.3 times that of Arconia Prime, sir. The atmospheric composition, while breathable, requires more energy for our respiratory systems to process. Our troops were not properly acclimated before deployment." Dravik smashed a tactical display with his clawed hand. "Excuses. The mighty Arconian Empire brought to a standstill by primitives." "There's more, sir," Zerl continued, mandibles tight with tension. "We've lost contact with 23% of our ground forces. They're not registering as deceased in our neural network, which suggests capture rather than elimination." "Captured? For what purpose?" "Unknown, sir, but our biotrackers indicate they remain alive." Dravik's rage momentarily gave way to uneasiness. The humans were not killing Arconian troops when they had the chance. Why? Dr. Sophia Kim studied the neural patterns displayed on her lab's holographic projector. Around her, a team of xenobiologists and computer scientists worked frantically to interpret the data streaming from their captured Arconian subjects. General Chen entered the underground facility, her uniform bearing the dust from a recent inspection of forward bases. "Please tell me you have something, Doctor," Chen said without preamble. Dr. Kim nodded. "We've mapped approximately 70% of their neural architecture. Their communication system is both biological and technological, a neural network that connects all Arconians. It's how they coordinate so effectively in normal circumstances. And can we use this against them?" Kim smiled tightly. "We're already writing the code. The captured Arconians still connect to their network, even while paralyzed. We can use them as access points." "How long?" 24 hours, if we push it." Chen nodded. "Push it." The breaking point came on the 30th day of the invasion. In his mountain bunker, Dravik was preparing to order the deployment of biological weapons, a desperate measure that violated Galactic Council treaties but might finally break human resistance. Suddenly, every communication system in the base failed simultaneously. The neural network connecting all Arconian forces flickered, then stabilized. But something was different. Foreign data began flowing through the network. Information about Earth, about humans, about their history of overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds. But more critically, accurate information about why the Arconians had really come to Earth. The Arconian homeworld was dying. Centuries of environmental exploitation had rendered their planet nearly uninhabitable. The Empire's expansion wasn't just about conquest, it was about survival. They needed new worlds for their population, and Earth's conditions were close enough to be adapted. This information flowed not just to human military leadership, but to every connected human device on the planet. In an instant, humanity understood the true nature of the conflict. At the same time, every Arconian received accurate information about humans, not the propaganda they had been fed about primitive savages, but the truth about a species that had evolved to become the ultimate adapters, survivors who thrived on challenge, who historically united most effectively when facing external threats. In Earth Defense Command, General Chen watched as the Arconian fleet's formation above Earth began to disintegrate. Some ships maintained position, others began retreat maneuvers, and still others appeared to be powering down weapon systems. "It's working," Colonel Davis reported. "The neural hack is causing confusion in their command structure." Before Chen could respond, a priority communication arrived from the United Earth Defense Council. Secretary General Isob's face appeared on screen. "General, we're receiving a direct communication request from the Arconian command ship. They're asking for terms." 24 hours later, Supreme Commander Dravik stood before a conference table in a neutral facility constructed hastily in Antarctica. Across from him sat General Chen, Secretary General Isob, and representatives from Earth's major nations. "Your neural intrusion was unexpected," Dravik said, his translator struggling to convey the complex emotions behind his words, "and prohibited by galactic standards." General Chen didn't flinch. "So does biological warfare, which your ships were preparing to deploy." Dravik's mandibles clicked in acknowledgement. "You have demonstrated that your species is not what we believed. The Galactic Council's warnings were accurate." Secretary General Isob leaned forward. "Commander, we understand your situation now. Your world is dying. Your people need a new home. And you offer what? Surrender terms." Dravik's exoskeleton stiffened in preparation for humiliation. "We offer a different solution," Isob said, surprising the Arconian. "Earth has developed terraforming technologies, originally designed to rehabilitate damaged ecosystems on our own planet. With modifications, these could be adapted to restore Arconia." Dravik's compound eyes widened. "You would share such technology with those who invaded your world?" General Chen's expression remained stern. "We're not offering charity, Commander. We're proposing an exchange. Your faster-than-light technology and certain weapon systems for our environmental restoration capabilities. Both our people's benefit. No one needs to lose their home. And if we refuse, then we continue fighting," Chen said simply. "And based on the past month, I think we both know how that ends." Dravik was silent for a long moment, the reality of his situation becoming clear. The mighty Arconian Empire, brought to the negotiating table by a species they had dismissed as primitive. "The Galactic Council will be surprised by this outcome," he finally said. "We look forward to meeting them," Isob replied with the hint of a smile. "We believe Earth is ready to take its place in the wider galaxy." 6 months later, Elder Civics floated at the center of the Galactic Council chamber once again. This time, a new delegation stood waiting to be recognized. The human representatives, led by Secretary General Isob and General Chen, faced the assembled species with confidence. "Honored representatives." Civics began, his bioluminescence pulsing with what seemed like satisfaction. "I present to you the delegation from Earth, who petitioned for observer status within the Galactic Council." As murmurs spread through the chamber, Civics's final words echoed with historical weight. "Let the record show that humanity enters galactic society not through conquest or subjugation, but through the rarest of achievements, turning an enemy into an ally through innovation rather than destruction. Perhaps we all have something to learn from the humans after all." The council chamber fell silent as the implications became clear. The galaxy had changed irrevocably, and at its center stood a species no one would underestimate again.